Supreme Court had locked out Mike Mbuvi Sonko from running for Mombasa governor's race. How did you feel about this development?
I think it was very good. And thank you for having me here, sorry.
Shukran.
You remember when we last had a conversation, I talked about Chapter 6 being aspirational and that it needed to be fleshed by either legislation or interpretation. Mm-hmm. I think the Supreme Court took that position and decided that this is not cosmetic in nature, it has a purpose, and that's why it was included in the Constitution. Mm-hmm. And I think what the Supreme Court has done now is to ensure that everybody understands that Chapter 6 will have the teeth that it desires. I think moving forward, Parliament now really needs to come up with legislation that will then anchor it properly to ensure that it is very clear to all and sundry that Chapter 6 will be effective and will bring the results that the Constitution and the people of Kenya desired.
Given your experience over time and at least trying to get those who have issues, whether it's criminal cases against them, and they're in office, MPs and what have you, do you really expect that they would enact legislation that would, harm them later, come back to bite them? Because it has been your experience.
Yeah, I mean, and this is why we've been telling Kenyans that they really need to use their votes wisely, to vote people who have integrity and people who will be able to go to Parliament and say, we will deliver this for the prosperity of Kenya. Right. As you know, the Constitution itself and Kenya itself, we are always in pursuit of a better republic. And this has to be built over time. Right. And I think the vote that will be done, or the voting that will be done soon, hopefully, will be able to bring people of integrity who will legislate not for their own sake, but for the sake of Kenyans.
And we'll get to that in terms of the polls and what Kenyans have in terms of a choice at the ballot. But with this one on Mike Sonko, and he's moved to the East African Court, what are his chances in this? I mean, yes, he's definitely trying to exhaust all his, avenues legally, but what are the chances as a prosecutor yourself?
I think his chances are slim, but he has the right, constitutionally, to exhaust all means that are available to him. Mm-hmm. I think there will be the grounds that he's going with are not very strong. Mm-hmm. And I think the choice of even the councils that he has, who in my opinion are very busy bodies, right, who are there to derail the fight against graft.
You're talking about Danstan Omari?
Yes, I'm talking about Danstan Omari and his cohort of councils. With all due respect, they've just become busy bodies trying to derail the fight against corruption. And you can see that very clearly. Mm-hmm. And I think they're even misleading their client to expect that he will get a different result from this. Yes. It is only seeking to delay. And I think, as the IBC said yesterday, probably that election in Mombasa will just be delayed. However, I am very confident that the East African Court will uphold the Supreme Court's decision.
Right, yeah. And that's the experience again in your following through with leaders with charges against them. You will go to court, but they end up appealing and
that's the frustration that we've had.
Yes.
Also in the fight against corruption and other criminal matters, that they exploit this right to be able to appeal. However, I think at some point, the courts themselves will have to pronounce whether, indeed, if you're appealing, does it mean that whatever was pronounced then is put in abeyance, yes, or that if you've been pronounced, for example, guilty and you're appealing, then it stands until you're able to prove otherwise. Mm-hmm. These are things that we will have to decide, and either through legislation or through pronouncements by the courts, yeah, just to forestall abuse of the process.
Speaking of the judiciary and the judicial process, yesterday there was a development. President Uhuru Kenyatta appointing 7 Court of Appeal judges as recommended by the Judicial Service Commission. As a DPP, how do you receive this particular development? It has been a long time coming.
I think we saw the interviews, they were open. The GSC did a very transparent process, and there was no questions on how the process was undertaken. I think it's okay, and hopefully this is how things will be.
Yes.
If everything is in tandem, and people are in agreement, and there are no questions of integrity, then you will see that the process itself is very smooth.
But this isn't, as you know, being informed here, it isn't quite, yes, it's a welcome move in the judicial process, long overdue, but still not quite what was recommended under the Maraga-led JSC. So, you know, do you see any, is this going to sit well in terms of what was the pursuit of the Maraga-led JSC to have, you know, judges at the appeal, Court of Appeal?
I think that, if I'm not wrong, the process is in court. And in addition, it depends on the leadership of the judiciary, how they perceive this, and JSC itself.
Yes. Because
I think there's a strong independent JSC that is there. And these are issues that they will have to decide. For us, what we want is an effective and independent judiciary that will be able to give us the guidance and the rulings that Kenyans want, and interpret the different legislation as they should.
Right.
That is what is important. The politics behind it, I think that will have to be settled by the leadership itself. As long as law is adhered to, and the spirit of independence is respected, I think for us, we just want to see an independent judiciary that is effective and that is delivering.